welcome to Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by Fit Aid with Clean Canteen. Nothing artificial in that. Monte, Poole, Kerith, Burke with you. There was one lead change in this game against the Blazers. It was a Clay three-pointer, happened in the third quarter. It was part of a third-quarter explosion. Once the Warriors had the lead, they never looked back, and they had to dig out of a hole. The Blazers were up by as much as 23 in this one. But I think I mentioned, you know, if there was ever the cliche, a tale of two halves, this was it. And I think what really helped the Warriors, Monte, was points in the paint.
Yeah, I mean, there were a lot of things that combined to get the Warriors this victory. But, I mean, obviously the slow start, I mean, they have a tendency to do that. And you know, to give up 41 points in the first quarter.
Ouch. It looked bad.
Oh, my goodness, it was terrible. And then 40 points in the whole second half. So that tells you how much it flipped.
Okay.
They gave up more points in the first quarter than the entire second half.
Yeah.
But, yeah, some of that was, I mean, they attacked the paint, which against Portland you can do. But I thought so much of this was just their defense coming alive in the late second quarter, and in the third quarter. Mm-hmm. Their defense led to their offense. I mean, Portland shot 29% in the third quarter, 7 of 24. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, the Warriors scored 39 points. So that's what they talk about when you say defense leads to offense. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's it. And when you do that, this team is really successful when they do that. They don't always do it.
Yeah.
But when they do, look what happens.
When the Warriors aren't playing against a set defense, it's almost like things are easier. Maybe they can go to the rim a little bit more. Maybe they can score more in the paint. And then once they get comfortable attacking the rim, they can kick it out. So listen, some of this stuff is not rocket science.
Right. Yes. Yeah. You got to be careful.
Yeah.
But you know, and Steve Kerr said this after the game that, you know, they didn't really change a whole lot. They made some adjustments, but the biggest change was the effort level, the attitude that the players brought out in the third quarter. And you saw that. In the first quarter, it was like, do these guys realize that this game has playoff implications, that every game has playoff implications? In that first quarter, it didn't look like it. It looked like they were just playing, you know, game 3 of the regular season. No, it was game 62, and it matters a lot. And so in the third quarter and even into the fourth, you saw that. Yeah. You saw that come out. And if they play like that on a regular basis, they will stay in the top 6.
Yeah. All right, so the Warriors now 32-30. You mentioned there are 20 games left. They moved up in the standings with this win by a lot. We'll touch on that. But I do want to keep talking about this third quarter explosion and Jordan Poole's role in that. He scored 12 points in this quarter, as did Klay Thompson. But as far as Jordan, I keep thinking about the one-on-one that he had with Steve Kerr at practice. How did that funnel into his game tonight?
Well, I think, you know, and Steve addressed it yesterday saying that, you know, he just wanted Jordan to kind of reel himself in a little bit, you know, do a little less and let the game come to him a little bit. You know, don't be in such a hurry to take a shot or to do something fantastic. Mm-hmm. Let the game come to you, get your teammates involved, and let it, you know, if you pass the ball and you move around, the ball will probably come back to you. Yep. And so I thought in the first half he played a decent game in the first half, I thought. In the third quarter, though, he lit it up. I mean, they were down 11, and Jordan scored 8 consecutive points, and the Blazers scored 1 point during that time.
Yeah.
So it was Jordan who really almost single-handedly took the deficit from 11 to 4. Mm-hmm. And when it was a 4-point game, it was like, uh-oh, the Warriors are coming now.
Yes.
They're coming now. And Jordan did a lot of that. So to see him respond, whether it was Steve's conversation with him or his own internal thoughts, whatever it took, to see him respond like that in over this game, you know, score 29 points. He looked more like the Jordan Poole they're going to need for the rest of the season.
He was such a factor. He was a plus 25 as well in this game. And I was watching him in that third quarter. He got started with a layup, then he had some free throws, then he had a bank shot, then he went for that three-pointer. So Jordan Poole is somebody who listens. He wants to help the team. He certainly did tonight. We heard from Jordan Poole in the post-game show, but we have some bonus sound from Jordan. Take a listen.
So mentioned this team is starting to really come together right now. Chemistry, energy, with all the players who've been out, you guys have kept your heads above water somehow and just kept fighting. How do you kind of assess?
Yeah, I mean, with the guys on our team, we're not going to stop fighting at all until the end of the season. And one thing that we really stand by is playing the right basketball, playing the best basketball at the right time. And, you know, as long as we keep the momentum that we have now, leading up into this back half of the season. I think it's the next, 22 games or something like that. Just continue to build off that positive energy and just try to show what we're capable of.
Hey, Jordan. Last day of the Black History Month, and I saw a legend in the house, George Clinton. Do you know who that is? What's your favorite song, and any reflections on Black History Month 2023?
Oh, you coming out with the hard hitters. I got to probably check my Apple Music to see what song I like the most. But first and foremost, I mean, it means so much to me, obviously, that I think we had a shirt here last year that was Beyond 28. It means so much to me, obviously, and the rest of the African American community. And just continue to try to change lives, be strong, fight for, obviously justice and everything else that we need. So, legend in the house. Obviously, we got a big win, which is huge. Love that. And it's Beyond 28. It's not just for the month of February. It's all year, so yeah.
Yeah, Beyond 28, and I'm sure you guys heard the comments from Draymond Green, who said, let's get rid of Black History Month. It's 365 days a year. That was the spirit in which he said that. As far as Draymond goes, he was a plus 26, so close to a triple-double tonight, 12, 9, and 8. There's something I noticed that Draymond did in the first quarter. He was attacking the rim, and he did it right through Damian Lillard. And I said, it's going to be that kind of game. What did you notice from Draymond?
Well, I think, Draymond missed the last 2 games, and it's not because he didn't want to be out there. It's because his knee said, don't go out there. And tonight, even today, there were some questions. I think when he got on the court, though, you saw the intensity that he brought. Now, in the first quarter, it wasn't a lot that it spread to his teammates. But over the course of the game, and one of the things that Dante DiVincenzo said after the game was that Draymond is really good at reminding people not to overreact. If Dame gets hot, that's one thing. If Matisse Thybulle gets hot, that's a whole different thing.
Sure, okay.
And understand that. And so for Draymond, I just thought in that third quarter, when they needed to turn up the defense, they turned up the defense, largely because Draymond Green made sure they turned up the defense. They were playing some junk defenses against Dame, and guys were chasing. Yeah, and guys were chasing Dame around, but you can only do that when you know you've got guys behind you.
Yeah.
And Draymond being behind you and Loon being behind you, that's huge. So I thought Draymond coming so close to the triple-double, that's a great stat line. 2 steals, 2 blocks. I mean, a little bit of everything.
This is the Draymond stat line
tonight. But it's a little bit of everything. But as Dante said, the game, Draymond's game is not defined by stats. It's a great line, but when you look at the game, you see so much more that is not measured on the sheet. And that's what I think happened tonight, especially on defense, where he was such a factor for this team when they needed it the most.
Yeah, and, we've been talking about leadership a lot, and maybe the role that Klay Thompson is filling in that as well, but he's not naturally loud, so to speak.
Right.
And on defense, I know he can talk, but Draymond is the anchor of that defense.
And he's loud.
Why are you smiling right now? Yeah.
Because he's loud.
Yes.
And he says he's loud. He'll tell you,
Yeah. But to have Draymond back in this lineup, and also to join Steady Eddie, Kevon Looney. He was 7 of 8 tonight. Go Kevon. He played a role in that third quarter spark as well. But I think having those two in this game was really helpful. And we are going to talk about Dante DiVincenzo. I just want to wrap up on Draymond.
Yeah, I just think when Draymond's on the floor, the team's defense has a different level it can reach. Loon is great for what he does, but Draymond is the guy who can cover up from so many mistakes that guys might make. And you got so many young guys on this team that you anticipate certain guys are going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. And I think the guys are realizing that sometimes it's okay to make a mistake if Draymond's back there.
Yeah.
Draymond's whole thing is about trust. You got to be able to trust that the guy will be there. And I've seen him get in guys' faces to remind them, dude, I'm there. I got it covered. Don't panic because you don't see me. I'm there. So that's the thing. That's where trust comes in. And this team maybe is starting to trust each other a little bit more in their situations like that, because it's essential for them to get to where they want to go is that they have that trust on defense.
Yeah, Draymond will make a closeout from the opposite block if he has to. That's how much he'll run. And I was wondering, coming into this game, I noticed he had more of a pad on his knee. I think it is bothering him. But if Draymond is going to play in a game, he's going to leave it all out there on the court. That's what he did tonight.
Yeah, if he can't play, that's one thing. But if he can play, he's going to play.
He's going to play.
He's going to play,
play.
Not just be out there.
Yeah.
I mean, Draymond, not that dude that can go out there and just like half it away. He can't do halfway. He can do 100%, but he can't do 50. So I think in this case like this, he understands. I mean, this is, for the Warriors, their mentality, they have to look at this game and every game from here on out like a playoff game because they all have playoff implications. And nobody on this team revels in playoff implications and playoff games, playoff atmosphere more than Draymond. I think he understands how important this is. 20 games to go, or 21 before tonight, 20 games to go now. I think that the whole playoff mentality, the coaching staff is starting to dial into that stuff too, with the defenses they designed tonight and stuff. So I just think that this is Draymond's time to shine. And we know, that this might be his last season here, could be if he opts out. But I think Draymond is just, he's going to go full blast every time he goes out there, and that's good for this team.
All right, so playoff intensity. Some of the questions post-game were about the defense that the Warriors chose to play in this game, locking in on Dame, a box and one in that second half. Dante DiVincenzo was Dame's shadow the whole game. JK had a few moments on Dame as well. But Dante is one of those trustworthy guys who played a two-way game tonight that was very important, and that's on his way to getting to 21 points on 8 of 11, 5 of 7. Dante has been spectacular for the Warriors this season.
Yeah, fantastic. I mean, if I go back to before the season started, and Andre Iguodala was saying, Dante's really good.
Yeah.
Not just good, he's really good. And if you know Dante's history, you go back to his college days at Villanova, and you see what he did, not just at a high-profile team, but in high-profile moments in March Madness and tournament. In the Final Four, you saw him do amazing things. And he goes to Milwaukee, they win a championship there. So this is Dante's playground. This is what he likes to do. It just took him a little while from the early in the season to sort of adapt to the Warriors, get his body right, and now you're seeing a guy who is playing his best basketball at a time when it needs to play it.
Yeah, Dante was traded. He had some upheaval in his life. He had some ankle injuries, so he's on this kind of deal because he thought, okay, if the Warriors are going to take a chance on me, I'll take a chance with the Warriors. That chance has deeply paid off. All right, so a whole bunch of great players to talk about. We need to maybe take a look at the video of JK's dunk again. I don't know if I'll get tired of seeing that one. And some news is on the way for Steph and Andre
Iguodala.
We'll be right back.
Remember him?
On Tubbs Talk, brought to you by Fit Aid.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by Fit Aid Clean Energy and Sports Recovery, the energy drink for athletes. Fit Aid Energy is naturally sweetened with only 15 calories, no sucralose, no aspartame, and no compromises.
Hey guys, we're back on YouTube. Arch
What's
says
up?
hello from Albuquerque. D says, not gonna lie, I was worried.
You should have been worried. They were down 23.
Yeah, they were down by 23.
I mean, and they didn't look good. It's like they were throwing the ball all over the place. The Blazers were taking advantage of those turnovers. They had 16 points off turnovers in the first half.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, this is going to be one of those nights where the Warriors give a game away.
Man, it was 40-63, and I was thinking, oh, this is ugly. And the Blazers had just gotten to the free throw line, and I was watching the Warriors, and I don't expect them to huddle up like it's college, all 5 guys together, but not one guy went over to the other guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, uh-oh. The body language feels weird tonight. They're not engaged.
Yeah.
So something happened at halftime.
Yeah, I mean, something needed to happen at halftime. But I think at the end of the second quarter, they kind of pulled it together a little bit. You saw it happening. But in the third quarter, they were a different team.
Yeah.
They were a different team. And the team that was out there in the first half was going to lose the game.
Yeah.
The team that came out in the third quarter made sure it won. I mean, I was honestly thinking, I don't think this is one of those nights.
Okay. I was thinking the same, and that's where we were wrong. Because the Blazers, I mean, and did they think they had it in the bag at halftime? Because
I would like to think they didn't.
Yeah.
The Blazers are, they're without a couple of people too. Nurkic isn't playing. Anthony Simons isn't playing. So they got a couple of starters that are missing. So it's a lot's on Dame's shoulders.
Yeah.
In that first quarter, like Dante said, when Dame scored 15 points, you thought, oh, God, it's going to be a long night. Yeah.
It's going to be a long
but
night.
again, they made some adjustments, and Dame didn't really hurt him the rest of the game.
Yeah. Well,
So-
and Dante made a point. I mean, he should get a lot of credit, but he's like, this was a team defensive
Yes,
effort.
it was.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So, tremendous job.
I like that about Dante. Hey everybody, welcome back to Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by FitAid. We are just going down the box score tonight, basically. Lots of great performances to talk about. Every starter was in double figures scoring. Jonathan Kuminga, 16 points off the bench. What I'm looking at, Monte, is he was 8 of 10. Some good decision making.
Yeah, I mean, with JK, you know, I tell people all the time, I said, you know, he's going to have games where he looks really good. He's going to have games where he doesn't look so good. And in these last few games after the All-Star break, you've seen both. You know, you've seen him make a difference. That was good. Tonight, you saw that. You know, 8 of 10 shooting from him, no turnovers, which for JK is huge.
That's excellent.
Yeah, he's had 3 or 4 turnovers in the last few games. So to see him come into the game, bring some energy, play some defense, and again, just be really selective with his shooting. You know, sometimes he wants to go one-on-one, and that's not what they want him to do. But tonight, I just thought that he was smarter about when he took his shots. He only had one situation I can recall where he decided he's going to go one-on-one, which became one-on-two and almost a turnover.
Okay.
But, you know, again, these are things you got to live with to a degree, because when somebody has the potential that he has, you let him play through some of his mistakes. So,
One of the loudest moments in this building was in the third quarter. Monty knows what I'm talking about. I bet you know what I'm talking about. It was, let's just call it the dunk, okay? This is what it was. Yeah, let's roll that video, baby!
give it up.
Here
1,
he is.
2, hoo-wah!
Ah! Did he
Wow.
launch that from the free throw line? Man, there it is right there. And then, of course, some social media reaction. Oh, my gosh, he is so athletic. Oh,
Yeah.
God, even Steph chimed in on this one. Is that the one we see first?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, how about some of these? Oh, SpongeBob tearing his shirt.
Yeah.
But yes.
That's the thing about JK, man. He does some stuff to make you go, wow. He does a lot of that stuff. And the Warriors are hoping that, you know, we see more of that and less of the, oh, what happened there thing. So tonight he was really good for this team. Gave them what they hope he can give them on a regular basis. So, again, he's young, he's learning, but every now and then you see something that makes you go, okay, here's why the Warriors believe in him.
Yeah, and that was cool, that little flipboard. I saw some of Bonte's tweets on there, too.
Yeah.
I think we should show less of Bonte's tweets, though.
Woo! Shots fired,
You can
shots
tell
fired.
I said that. Okay, there is some news, all right? Yesterday, Steph and Andre scrimmaged with the C-Dubs, who scrimmaged here at Chase Center. And Monty, we know that if a player is scrimmaging, that's traditionally the last step before they play a game. That also traditionally means that they have been cleared for contact. All of this seems like really good news. What are you hearing?
Yeah, it based on the vibe I'm getting is that Steph will be back sooner than rather than later. I think a few days ago I thought, okay, maybe next week, but now I think there's a chance he could be back before this week is up. And I'm going to count Sunday as part of this week.
Okay.
Even though Sunday actually is the first day of next week. In life, we really look at Sunday as the last day of the week. Because
Yes,
Monday is the
'cause
first
it's
day
a
of the week.
weekend.
Yes, it's exactly. So,
I'm with you, I got you.
I think it's, I think it's very conceivable that he will play at some point in these next 4 days.
Okay.
So, 5 days. And so that's a huge boost for this team. And whether it's 5 days or 7 days, we know he's that close.
Yeah,
so,
that's
and to see
excellent news.
Jordan come like he did tonight, which was so much better than his last 3 games, so much better.
Yeah.
These are all reasons to believe that, okay, maybe the Warriors can pull themselves together and end up with a top 6 slot. Right now, they're in 5th, you know, and by percentage points. So can they stay there? They will have to play their best basketball of the season to do that, but these teams are all playing each other. And tonight, you know, the Mavericks lost. The Thunder lost. The Lakers lost.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a lot of this as they go. If the Warriors can kind of stay above that and win more games than they lose by a significant amount, I mean, they got 20 to go. If they can win 13 of those games,
Okay.
I think they're in pretty good shape for a top 6 spot if they can win 13 of those games.
Okay, so less of this, More of this.
Yes, you're going to have some losses. They're not going to go 20-0 the rest of the way. They're not going to finish the season with a 23-game win streak.
Yeah.
But if they can win, like I said, they can go 13-7 over the final 20. I think that puts them in a pretty good spot for a top 6 spot, and that way you avoid the play-in tournament, which, if one loss could send you home. So you don't want that.
That's some dangerous stuff. Steph is so important to what the Warriors are doing. I think he is the system, and I was looking at some of the numbers. He's only played in 38 of 62 games this season.
Yeah.
So the Warriors have really had to, those are either rest nights or it's a shoulder injury or it's his current injury, all sorts of things. They've really had to stay afloat a lot without him.
Well, and without Wiggins too.
Yep.
So you look at Steph, you look at Wiggins. Both those guys have missed a bunch of games. Over 20 games. So for the Warriors to be where they are, you say, well, it's not terrible because they're still in the thick of it in the West. You can look back at some of the games they've lost and go, what the heck happened in that game? But again, like last season, there were games like that. You go, what are these guys doing last season? And then at the very end of the season, they pulled it all together.
Yeah.
And this is a team that, once it gets to the postseason, then you think, okay, let's get a look at their faces. And last season, they got to the postseason. The look in their eyes said, this is where we belong. This is our terrain. We know this territory better than anybody else, which they do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think getting there this season healthy is the priority.
Yeah. I also want a glimpse of Andre, okay? He's
Yes.
played in 3 games this season. Andre can only do as much as his body allows him to do. But I think part of the discussion was hoping maybe he could play a few more games than this.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. I think ideally they would have gotten, maybe 35 games out of Andre. But that's not going to happen.
It
I
was
think now.
31 in the regular season last year.
Yeah. I think anyone in the 30s you're happy with. But the more important part is getting him in a position where when the playoffs hit, he can play on a regular basis.
Yes. Yes.
And that's what you hope. You don't need him to play 20 minutes a night. And there will be some nights you hope you don't need him at all. But you want him to be available every night for every postseason game because there's always a chance you will need him. And sometimes what Andre can do is in 5 minutes is huge.
Oh, for sure.
And so that's why you don't want to put him out there and have him hurt something where, okay, he's out for 4 weeks now. You don't want that. So he's really close. There's a good chance that he will play within the next week too. So if you get Steph back and you get Andre back within the next week, which it sounds like you will, that's huge. And Wiggins, we don't know about yet. That's still a day-to-day thing. And nobody's really shedding any light as to when he might be back. And it's a personal thing, a family matter, I'm told. So right now, you just let it ride.
All right, so we'll go with that good news that both Andre and Steph scrimmaged and that we should get an update, I believe, on Steph at least tomorrow. All right, guys, Monte was talking about some of the losses for other teams in the West tonight that helped the Warriors move up. Let's take a look at the standings when we come back on Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by Fit 8.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by Fit Aid Clean Energy and Sports Recovery, the energy drink for athletes. Fit Aid Energy is naturally sweetened with only 15 calories, no sucralose, no aspartame, and no compromises.
Hey guys, we're back on YouTube. Any news on Wiggins? No, it's a personal matter, a family issue, and I know as ethical reporters, when we hear something like that, we don't usually press as hard.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody wants to tell me, fine, but I don't go prying into family matters.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Like we're not. Yes, we'll just say that. Okay. Anytime we talk about Andre, people want to know why don't they just cut him, waive him, turn him into a coach. First of all, does Andre get a say into this? Because if Andre wanted to be a coach, Andre could be a coach with any of the 30 teams. But I don't think Andre wants those problems.
He does not want to be a coach.
Correct.
He does not want to be a coach.
Yeah.
But the reason why they keep him, there are a number of reasons why they keep him. First of all, he's one of the smartest players in the NBA. And you can never have too many smart players. Second of all, they have a lot of young guys on this team. And Andre is kind of like the Papa Bear to those guys.
I would say the wrangler, the cat wrangler for some
He's the guy who can get in these guys' head, and he can do it in a variety of ways.
Yeah.
He can do it, with humor. He can do it with, incisiveness, where, he comes straight to the chase.
Oh, yeah. He can just do it with a look sometimes.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
he does. I mean, and he'll do that. He'll give that look to anybody. I remember there was a point last year where Draymond got tossed from a game. He sat on the bench next to Andre, and Andre looked at him like,
That's it.
he just stared at him like,
That's all it took. That's all it
like,
took.
what are you doing? So, he's a huge influence on this team, even though he's not playing on the court.
Yeah.
But when he plays on the court, he's also a guy who can make an impact.
Yeah.
So, no, you don't cut that guy loose. He's done too much for this franchise.
He will retire a Warrior with a proper ceremony.
4 rings.
Yep. Welcome back to Dubs Talk Live. The Warriors 32-30. When you take a look at the standings, that is now good enough for 5th. That's amazing. Look how much they moved up tonight with some of the losses you mentioned, Monte. The Mavs lost, the Lakers lost, the Jazz lost.
The Clippers.
The Clippers lost.
Yeah.
That's the Warriors' next opponent
Yep.
right there. So if they can keep this momentum going, if they can stay above that white line in between 6 and 7, because that's where the playoff teams are, 7, 8, 9, and 10. You know, the Warriors' experience with the play-in was their losses.
Yeah.
Their losses against Memphis.
Yeah.
Memphis was the team that kicked them out.
Yep.
Yes.
But you look at this, you look at those standings, and you see that, from 4th place to 13th place, there's 4 games. So every game matters a bunch, and so
Yeah,
when you
Marcus
look at all the
Thompson,
teams,
credit to him laying that out too.
yeah, when you look at all those teams that lost tonight, if the Warriors had lost, it would have been like, oh my God, they blew an opportunity.
Yeah.
But they were able to come back and win a game that, for a while, looked like a loss. So
Down 23 points and just
yeah.
seeing how the team was
yeah,
playing.
they did themselves a huge favor tonight,
Yeah.
and without even knowing what the other teams did.
Yeah.
And now you look at it and go, okay, you moved up. Now the challenge, of course, will be to stay there, but they will see those teams. They will see some of those teams, a lot of those teams. So they will see the Clippers coming up soon. And see the Lakers later this week. So you got games against these guys that you have to still take care of business in those games. And the way they played tonight in the second half, I think there's reason to be a little optimistic, especially with the belief that Steph will be back in the coming days, not the coming weeks, in the coming days. And Andre will be back in the coming days, not the coming weeks. Wiggins, we don't know yet, but if you get Steph back, that's a huge boost.
Okay, I just want a little stability right now. Okay, the Warriors were down to the Blazers by 23 points. They came back. They trailed the Timberwolves by 14. They came back. I think some of the stability will happen when they have a few more bodies.
Yeah.
That's sort of what I'm waiting for here. Because you're dancing with the devil a little bit with some of these comebacks. Fantastic that they got the wins, but keep it a little safer, guys.
Yeah, they've done these comebacks a few times this year, and you hate to see these slow starts, especially when the games mean so much. If they can pull themselves together and get an early jump on things, they're much better off.
There you go. Okay, the conversation will be continued on Dubs Talk, the podcast. Thank you, Monte Poole. I'm Kerith Burke. Thank you for joining us. The Warriors all the way up in 5th in the standings. We'll see if they can keep it rolling on the homestand. There we go. We've got some JP talking here. People want to see him just be a little bit more consistent. I think this was, you know what?
His shooting percentage was not good tonight. It wasn't good. Better than what he's been
No,
doing,
I think you can look at 3 of 10 from 10 of 24. But actually, my eye goes to a plus 25.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because he made key buckets when they needed them.
Yeah.
That third quarter stretch where they had an 11-point deficit, they were down 11, and when Jordan got done with his flurry, they were down 4. And the momentum switched, and the momentum completely turned around during Jordan's run.
Yeah.
And then Clay comes in and hits a couple of shots, and the Warriors take the lead. So I think with Jordan getting 12 points in that third quarter, Clay had 12 also in the third quarter. They took advantage of a defense that played much better basketball than it did in the first half. The Blazers came out blazing, literally, and it looked like,
it looked like it was going to be a Dame night.
41 points. Dame scored 71 in his last game.
Sure.
He had 15 in the first quarter. So, you're like, okay, what are the Warriors going to do here?
Yeah.
But, again, they pulled it together. And, honestly, I don't know if they pulled it together this well without Draymond.
That's a good point.
Yeah, on defense. That's where the game changed. And so if you ask these guys, every single one of them, you can look at the buckets and the dunks and stuff. But they will all tell you that, no, it really begins with the defense. And that's what the Warriors thrive on. During their best years, people were talking about Steph and Clay and KD and all the shooting. If they didn't play top-tier defense, they wouldn't have all these rings.
Yeah, Draymond wants to be that guy.
Yes.
He was that guy tonight. All right,
Yes.
that's Monte. He's my guy. We'll see you on the podcast. Bye, friends.